Yo, what's good, duelists? Some new announcements just came out, so we'll be going over them. So first, we'll be starting with some of the new cards that are coming out of V-Jump and AGOV, besides the ones that I just mentioned in my last video that everyone kind of thought were broken initially, and then, there hasn't been like a real practical use case for them yet, I don't think, because normal summon is pretty hefty, but enough about that. We're going to go over that, and then we're going to go over all of the rarities that have been revealed for AGOV. So some new cards in AGOV, some new cards in general, and then the secret rares. So let's do that real quick. So this is the first new card. This won't be coming out for a while. It's a V-Jump December 2023 promotional card in Japan. It's called Pendulum Witch, which is pretty cool name and pretty cool artwork, I would say. It's a Earth level 3 spellcaster. You can only use the Pendulum effect of this card's name once per turn. If a face-up fusion, synchro, and or XYZ monster you control is destroyed by battle or opponent's card effect, while this card is in the Pendulum Zone, you can add one Pendulum monster with the same original type as one of those monsters from your deck to your extra deck face up. I don't think that effect's really that good. I mean, it's just like, at least let me add it to the hand, right? I don't know how it could be better to add it to the extra deck, but maybe there's something I'm missing. And then it's obvious, like, it having to be an extra deck monster like Fusion, Synchro, or XYZ monster, not just like a general monster that's destroyed, is definitely like a lot worse. So its pendulum effect isn't the best, I would say. It's a scale 8 though. You can only use the first monster effect of this card's name once per turn. If this card is normal or pendulum summoned, you can target one card in your pendulum zone, destroy both it and this card, and if you do, add one level 4 or lower pendulum monster from your deck to your hand. If this card in your monster zone is destroyed, you can place it to your pendulum zone. Oh wow, so the monster effect I think is actually pretty damn broken. Obviously, like I said, the scale effect, if it just wasn't like your opponent's card effect and maybe just destroyed in general, that would be probably busted. But yeah, this being able to add any level 4 lower pendulum monster from your deck to your hand is actually pretty insane. Just at the cost of destroying itself in a pendulum scale, which you might want to do anyway, right? So that's broken. So I think that this card's actually pretty good for pendulums. All right, let's get into some of the other new cards. So this is out of AGOV. Age of Overlord. I think this card is actually pretty cool for the insect archetype. When I first read it, I didn't think it was that good, but after reading it some more, I think it actually could be really practical. So just because it's a +1 low-key, it might force your opponent to activate some cards. So you can special summon this card if you have more cards in your hand than your opponent. You can so it's to go in second card. You can change the battle position of all monsters on the field. All other insect monsters on the field become the same attribute and level as this card. So it makes them all level 8, I believe, 2, 4, 6, or level 7. That's why it has level 6 preface. All other insect monsters on the field become the same attribute and level as this card. Also, you cannot special summon a monster for the rest of the turn except insect monsters. That's the worst part. If this card is destroyed, you can add one level 8 or higher monster from your deck to your hand. You can only use each effect of Asset Montis once per turn. So it's pretty cool. I mean, it being able to add Nibiru isn't really that relevant because obviously it's like something you're going to summon going second. But if you could destroy it in your hand going first, it might have some niche applications. I mean, being able to add like any level 8 or higher monster is like kind of crazy to me. Although it's like, it has to be destroyed. It's just not when it's sent to the graveyard because that maybe be broken. You could add a card like Howling the Sky Prison or even Lava Golem. But obviously, if you special summon this, you can only special summon insect monsters for the rest of the turn. But that's only if you actually use the effect. So yeah, I don't know. I think this card's actually like one of the more interesting cards because it's kind of like just in the middle. I think this card's actually really good for Sprite, so if you're a Sprite player, definitely be on the lookout for this card. It can help you go for game, I mean, especially with the card that doubles the attack. So if this card, it's just 2 effect monsters, Cyberse, Link 2, kind of like the other one that would point up and negate a monster. If this card is special summoned to a zone a Link monster points to, you can target one monster you control with 1500 or less attack. This turn, it can make a second attack during each battle phase. Also, if it battles an opponent's monster, any battle damage it inflicts to your opponent is doubled. So if you attack, like, let's say, like, with blue over, I don't know, like, 500 attack monster, that's like 4k damage if you use the double, and then it can attack again. Definitely some insane stuff that can happen with this card. During the standby phase of the next turn, after this card is destroyed by battle or card effect and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon this card. Yeah, kind of cool. Definitely could help with IP Masquerena. So I think this card's actually really good for Sprite. I think that Sprite is probably going to have the biggest application with this card. I don't know like any other deck that would really need it to like go for game, but it definitely is just another link that can help you push for game. Okay, and then Watt's Psychic Fighting Porter Quick Play Spell. Special summon up to 2 level 3 or lower light monsters from your hand. If you special summon 2 monsters with the same original type, those monsters can attack directly this turn. If they have the same original level, they cannot be destroyed by battle this turn. You can activate 1 per turn. I think this card sucks. Let me know if if it doesn't. This card is actually pretty cool. Fallen of the Tristana. You can send this card from your hand or field to the graveyard. Place 1 Divine Domain Bestistina from your deck face up in your field zone. And if a face up Tristana spell or trap card you control is destroyed by an opponent's card effect, while this card is in your graveyard, you can banish it, special summon 1 light Tristana monster from your hand, deck, which we love to see, or graveyard. And you can only use its effect once per turn, and it's level 1 Aqua Water. So I definitely think just any card with 2 effects and like that search is pretty good, especially ones that special from the deck. Tainted of the Tristana. You can tribute summon this card face up by tributing 1 face down monster your opponent controls, which is a really, really weird effect considering like, so if you book a moon, I mean this card could combo really good with book a moon. So you can tribute summon this card face up by tributing 1 face down monster your opponent controls because it is a level 5 dark 2000 attack. This card's level becomes 10 if it was normal summoned or set, so now it's just level 10, doubles in level. If this card is sent to the graveyard, except from the field, you can target 1 Tristana monster you control. This turn, it can make a second attack during each battle phase. Also, you can only attack with 1 monster. Hate to see that. Only can attack with 1 monster now. Returned of the Tristana, basically a level 2 fire. If this card is in your hand, so all these cards pretty much have different attributes. If this card is in your hand, you can target 1 Tristana monster you control, except Return of the Tristana. Special summon this card. And if you do, its levels become the targeted monster's level. It's kind of, I think that's pretty cool. If this card is in your graveyard, you can target 1 Aqua XYZ monster you control, attach this card to it as a material. I think that's also pretty like niche and neat, but I mean, it's not like the most broken card ever, right? Play of the Tristana. Special summon 1 Tristana monster from your hand or graveyard in defense position, but return it to the hand during the end phase. So Monster Reborn, pretty cool. Quick play spell definitely makes it better. I think this card's pretty good. I mean, anyone that plays League, I hate Tristana. I hate playing with Tristana in the mid lane, so let me know if you feel that, or if you're a Tristana main. Tristana, the divinity that defies darkness. Aqua XYZ, what is that? 2 level 10 monsters. It makes sense when we have the level 5 that doubles himself. If this card is special summoned, you can send all face down cards your opponent controls to the graveyard. So there's got to be some like book action with this archetype, right? That just sets everything. You can only use this effect of Tristana, blah, 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 once per turn. Once per turn, if this card has Crystal God Tristana as material. So I'm pretty sure that was the one we just saw. No, that's Return of the Tristana. Okay, I forget which one. Once per turn, if this card has Crystal God Tristana as material, you can detach 1 material from this card. It gains 2000 attack until the end of your opponent's turn. If this card you control is destroyed by an opponent's card while it has a material, you can special summon 1 Tristana monster from your graveyard. Wow, that's like really underwhelming. I thought this card was cool when I first read it, but now when I read it, I just like, yeah, this card is really niche and weird and doesn't seem that good. Embrace of the Tristana. When your opponent activates a monster effect on the field, you can target that monster, change it to face down defense position. So finally we have the card that changes shit face down. I think we need some more though. We got Book of Eclipse and Book of Moon though, right? During the end phase, you can target 1 face down defense position monster your opponent controls. Take control of that monster. Ooh, that's kind of neat. You can only use each effect of Embrace of the Tristana once per turn, and can only activate them while you control a Tristana monster with 3000 or more defense. The XYZ has 3000 defense. What a coincidence. Discordance of the Tristana, normal trap. Activate one of these effects. If you control a Tristana monster, banish one card from your opponent's graveyard face down. That's pretty cool. If you control a Tristana monster, special summoned from the extra deck, banish all cards from your opponent's graveyard face down. Ooh, that's really powerful. Normal trap effect. Banish all of them face down. Especially with Kashtira, maybe we could make Shangri-La with this archetype. I don't know. You can banish this. So Tristana Kashtira actually does seem like a neat idea. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one Tristana monster in your graveyard, add it to your hand. You can only use one Discorda, the Tristana effect per turn, and only once the return. Kind of sucks we can't use both, but makes sense. I mean, it would be broken if you could just use, like, if you had 2 copies, I'm saying you could use both effects. That would be nice. And then the cards I went over, Ken the Warrior Dragon, and Jen the Diamond Tiger. All right, now let's get into some of these rarities from AGOV. This is going to be one of the most expensive sets ever, I believe. So get your pockets ready, right? The TG archetype is actually pretty solid deck, so I feel bad for these people that were playing the TGs, maybe thinking it was going to be like a pretty cost-effective, super combo-heavy archetype that would just like be awesome, but they're secret rares. They're probably going to be cheap secret rares, to be honest. But the deck's actually pretty good. I've tested TGs a good amount in the new format, and it's not a deck to like if they go first, you're probably going to lose. Librarian is a TG, and that's really good, especially when they restrict you from only summoning TGs. As long as you can summon Librarian, you're Gucci. Okay. So we have these secret rares. We have Visa's Samsara, definitely needed card. Diabellstar, the Dark Witch. This card's so broken, it's going to be definitely expensive. Snake Eyes, Flamebridge Dragon. Don't think this card's very good. Probably won't be that expensive. Imseti, Glory of the Horus. Tears, probably going to play this card. I don't think the Horus archetype is as good as I once did. So I don't know how expensive this card is. I expect this card to be really expensive maybe on release, and then go down in value when it doesn't see enough play. Arya, or this other Horus, you don't really play this Horus. You usually play the wind one over the water, so I think this card will actually be like dirt cheap a little after release. Probably at initial release, all the Horus cards will be a little even, but the wind one is definitely the one you want as a one-of for the archetype, so get ready for that. Arya's the Labyrinth Butler. This Labyrinth card definitely gives them a little boost. I definitely can see this card maybe not being as much initial release, but going up as time goes on. SP Little Knight. This card's probably going to be over $100. I mean, it's just generic. Literally every deck has to play it, and most decks have to run at least 2 copies. I've tested 3 copies of this card because I think it's so good. It kind of reminds me of the Ignister Synchro when I played the Pendulum deck that I got second with. No one was running 3 Ignister, the Synchro that destroy shuffle, and I thought that card was broken. And that was the first YCS I ever topped, and it was all because I ran 3 of that card. Last round on the bubble, I played versus Cosmo, and I summoned the 3rd one for my extra deck. And SP Little Knight is kind of how I feel with that, because I have needed 3 before. And it's crazy that it's that broken. But I'm also doing tricky things where I'm, like you saw in my last 2 videos, where I make SP first to play around cards like Nibiru, Imperm, Effect Veiler, Moonlight Chill. So that's why I'm usually turning my first SP Little Knight into an Appaloosa. So I'm definitely going through the SP Little Knights in my extra deck when I play this card. And then the Sinful Spoils Hunter Fiend, another card. Depending on how many Rescue Ace, Infernoble are played, this card also could go up, because when Fire King come out, that's definitely going to be a tier 1 deck, and they will need 3 of this card. So a lot of decks are going to be playing 3 of this. I've said it a lot that level 1 fires are just like getting a lot of support from Konami. So being a level 1 fire feels pretty nice right now. I think this card will be a lot, and maybe even go up more as time goes on. Okay, and now we have the ultra rares. Actually, some really good ultra rare cards here, so that you're gonna need, because like obviously if you're running the Sinful Spoils package, you're gonna need at least the original Sinful Spoils Snake Eye. If you're running the Horus package, you're gonna need at least one of the Pharaonic Sarcophagus. I think I said that right. I always get confused with OCG names too. If you're going to be running almost any deck, you're going to need at least one Stellar Nemesis Tifon Doomsday Star. This card's actually really good. I think it's like I usually every time I would think about summoning this card, it would seem like, man, it's really just not going to do anything. But when this card does do something, like say you're playing versus maybe like, I don't know, Pearly deck or any deck that runs Fenrir, like this, because this is just like the first example that's actually happened to me. It came to mind. They had Fenrir and Zeus. Guess what I just did? I just summoned this dude, attacked over the Fenrir, and then bounced the Zeus. So this card is kind of broken. I mean, I could do that with any one card. Like I just went like, I don't know, it felt like a +3 just because of this bad boy was in my extra deck. Another interesting scenario that happened is if you summon this guy with any attack boost cards, you can't use its effect because it says neither player can activate any monster with 3,000 attack. So when I had the Kashtira failed spell on my field, and I summoned this guy, I was like, oh wait, I can't use this effect. But 3,000 attack or higher monsters can still attack, so you can still just attack over the Zeus. But keep that in mind, if they got a Zeus in defense and this dude's at 3,000 attack, you can't get over the Zeus at all. Still, like, it's just a pretty cute interaction, I thought. Then Vanadium definitely will need one Triloscuda or Sukada. This card's actually pretty good for the deck, along with the level 4. I think it'll play both of those cards in Vanadium versions going forward. I think Dark Hole Dragon is a really cool card. Maybe that card, just because of like how it looks, the name Dark Hole, this card could be a good pickup to go up in the long term. A new Vanquish Soul card, the TG cards I mentioned, the full armored archetype. Like, I appreciate my last video, people informing me how the full armored cards work. Definitely seems like a cool mechanic, just stacking all those XYZ monsters. And then another card that I think will go up a shit ton eventually is Infernal Flame Banshee, because this card is broken. Like, I mean, anything like Lavalval Chain is going to be broken. Lavalval Chain's man, this is a rank 4, 2 level 4s, generic, send a pyro, add a pyro, that's broken. Definitely be on the lookout for Infernal Flame Banshee. Okay, and then we got the super rares. So the one guy, like I said, you would need for Horus is a super rare. Other notable, the Supreme King archetype is actually pretty good. I don't know if I mentioned that before, but I would definitely look into the Supreme King archetype. This card is pretty broken. Belphemont, the Phantom Beast Dark Ruler. This card can send End of the Nubis, and you can special it back. So like, this card's crazy. I think for the branded Chimera deck, this card is a huge buff. And I don't know if it'll be much initially, but I'm definitely looking out for what branded Chimera can do with this card, or even really any fusion deck can do with this card, because this card is really nice. Exceed the Pendulum. I believe Exceed the Pendulum will actually go up a little after release. Like when you see my Magispector combo video on my channel, I do have some combos with that deck that do use Exceed the Pendulum, especially if you're running a card like Astrograph Sorcerer. Exceed the Pendulum is very useful, so I can see Exceed the Pendulum going up after initial release. Maybe not too much because it's just a super rare, but I definitely don't think anyone's going to be looking out for it. So just some cards you might want to collect a bunch of, because, you know, who knows? They're actually good, but people may not know right now. Anything else? Oh, Synchro Rumble. This is actually a pretty useful card. Obviously, like the TG cards, I'm not really too excited about like the actual Snake Eye monsters, as you can see with how I rated the boss monster in the first one. The Vita cards are kind of cool, or the Veda cards are kind of cool, but I don't think they're going to be played. Like, if this guy has 12 counters, you can special them and, you know, banish a bunch of cards. All right, well, that's it. Long video. I hope you guys enjoyed my duelist. Let me know what else you would like to see, and if you think that any of these cards could actually be worth more or worth less, and how excited you are about the new cards that are just getting revealed. Do you think those do you think the new 2 TCG exclusives that are level 3 are actually going to be all that, or were they kind of just overhyped right away? Like, I feel like everyone's made a video about them now, and everyone's kind of like, the hype died down within like 2 days. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you have a great day, and peace.